The do-over Damsel Conquers the Dragon Emperor is about a damsel who does over her life. Much like a somewhat similar anime to Moon Empire, the main character's life is ended and she is sent back in time in order to change the past and stay alive. Jill, the main character, was set to marry the Prince of Kratos, but she discovered he was having an illicit relationship with his sister. Yikes, I didn't know this anime was set in America's South, but because she found out, the prince labeled her a traitor to the crown and killed her, thus sending her back in time to do over her life. Now, if you were sent back in time and had to stop yourself from getting engaged to the prince, what would be the best way to avoid this? That's right, getting engaged to someone else. As long as she doesn't choose some crazy person called the Cursed Dragon Emperor or anything, everything should work out nicely.
こ
のハディステオスラーベ、あなたの求婚をお受けしよう。
Well, that sucks. But this is where our story begins. Now, this anime is actually really sweet. Despite the name the Dragon Emperor and Cursed Prince, Hades is actually a complete sweetheart, leaving this anime to be about two main things: fixing the future where the two countries, Kratos and Rabe, go to war, and the growth of Jill and Hades' relationship. Both the two main characters have a hard time with love. Jill was engaged to a man for many years, only to find out she's being used for his own purposes. And once she found out, she was killed. And despite how much of a marshmallow Hades is, he especially struggles with this. He's called the Cursed Emperor, and for good reason. Every single other person who took the throne before him died, and everyone blamed it on him, thinking he had something to do with it. But he was but a bystander. No one gave him a chance, so he had to use his absurd strength to prove himself, which just made others think he was ruthless. Neither of them are attuned to love when they first meet. They get engaged just to use each other. Jill to escape the prince, and Hades for some lore reasons we'll discuss later. But this is a main struggle in this anime. Behind the shallow love progress we see, they do start actually warming up to each other, and after a certain event happens, they realize how they actually feel about each other, and it's a really sweet conclusion. The love in this anime is amazing, and how they come to learn to love each other and actually care for each other is just phenomenal. Though there is a whole problem with the age gap between the two, which is surprisingly prevalent in this season of anime, with I'll become a villainess who goes down in history, the sorry bride, and the healer who's banished from his party is in fact the strongest, all dealing with quite the large age gap. It's honestly concerning. Though this one has two excuses, one being that she was sent back in time, so technically she's older mentally at least, so that's a bit confusing to think about, and the second being lore reasons. Speaking of lore reasons, another big thing in this anime is the lore. Behind the relationships and do-overness of the anime is the backdrop of two warring countries. Each of them have thought out histories and folklore behind them saying why the other is bad, which is a big factor behind the war in the future. And at one point you can clearly tell which country has the right folklore, seeing as the other's goddess is a bit crazy and all, but it's really nice how well the world is built, and it's usually not covered this in-depth in anime of a similar vein, so I quite enjoyed having it. I mean, the reason why Hades likes him young is because if his wife is too old, she'll be possessed by said crazy goddess. I don't know if that was smart of the writer or just a cop-out to not worry about the age thing, so yeah. But as you learn more about the folklore of Rabe, the more you feel sympathy for Hades, because you learn the weight on his shoulders and you learn why he chose to marry Jill, yet protects her despite being able to use her to solve a lot of his problems. It's honestly so sweet. That's not even covering the do-over part where Jill uses her knowledge of the future to change the future, where she prevents incidents that cause a massive war to happen while protecting Hades' name and raising the citizens' view of him all at the same time. It's all so nice. And this anime does have some elements of battle where Jill has to fight on multiple occasions to stop people from scheming to ruin Hades' already ruined name. But with the quality of the animation and the definite stylization it has, it all looks really nice. Like, it's stylized almost like a comic book, at least in how the characters are drawn with thicker lines, and the way they move at points of exaggerated emotion makes me say that. And even the beginning of the opening, which looks so cool how it's done, and if they kept that stylization throughout, it would be so awesome. But whatever. It's all really well done. I really like this anime, and if you haven't given it a try, maybe what I said today will let you give it a chance to watch. And this anime is available on Crunchyroll. But yeah, that's about it. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you could subscribe if you want. But anyways, I'm INL, and bye-bye.